If you look closely at paintings by Wiley, you can see that there's usually a background kind of wallpaper that makes a flat backdrop for the sitters in his art. And in fact, this flat background can come forward and entangle the three-dimensional subject of the portrait. This adds to the meaning of the art. We've been working on our art inspired by Wiley and working to get our portraits done realistically in realistic proportions. And so I'm going to show you how I'm getting out our skin tone markers again to go back and check the shadows on our face and the wrinkles in our clothes. When you look in the mirror, you'll see some darker areas likely under your neck, around your hairline, on the sides of your face, under your nose, in certain areas of your hair, and even under your mouth and chin. I'm using just slightly darker values than my skin tone to show these shadows. Also in your clothing, you can use slightly darker values to show wrinkles in your clothing for a three-dimensional effect. There's so much to learn about this, but we're just doing our best this time. So next, we're going to cut out our portrait. You can see when it's up close that I did use a black pen, and then we did painting or marker with water on top. I just did what was called a rough cut, where I'm going to get some paper out of the way and then go back and do some detail cutting. That makes it easier to move my scissors how I want. The next thing you get to do is pick out some patterned paper. You'll need 2 sheets of it. You'll also use a glue stick to attach our papers today. That'll be better than liquid to keep any of this thin paper from puckering. So I glued a lot on the back of my portrait and am placing it in the center of this paper. Later, when it gets chopped down to size, we will make sure that everything is showing how we want it to. So now with my top pattern paper, I'm going to start with a few shapes that really use the detail on this paper. I'm going to try and cut out some flower shapes so that it can interact with the portrait. I'm going to try different placements, see where things might look like they add to the overall composition. I'm using the tips of the scissor to cut some more detail. This is a really complex pattern that I'm using, and there might be some easier ones, but it helps to just cut some parts out with more fine detail. And again, using glue stick and finding a spot where I would like it to go. The biggest piece to use will probably be coming from the bottom. So use the bottom edge of your pattern paper to cut a portion of paper that will begin to overlap your figure from the bottom. We don't want it to look like you're hiding behind paper, but think about how this paper will interact with you. Will it be going around your neck? Will it be coming up over your face a little bit? We want to keep all the details that we work to create, especially since we've been working so hard on proportion, but use some choices to just gradually remove more and more of the paper so that it's doing what you would like it to do. Once you get it where you want, you can cut some more fine details, and then you can glue it onto the bottom of your picture. The final step in this project is to create your frame. And I have these old photo holders, and they already have some gold on them, but we're going to make them even more antique to give prestige to our paintings by using symmetrical details. I have some printouts of fancy frames that you can use for inspiration. Basically, whatever you do on one corner, you do on the others. Whatever you do on one side, you do on the opposite side. And you will have a very fancy frame. I'm going to work on this one for a while with a gold marker, and then I'm going to fast forward so you can see how I place my art inside. Your art may need to be trimmed by me or another helper And then you will be able to slide it into the side of the frame.